Why you need to hire a habitat management specialist, guys. Well, first and foremost, let's go over what that even is. That's a person like myself who is a specialist when it comes to creating habitat for white-tailed deer. It's a loaded question, it's a loaded topic. There's a lot that goes into it. And that's ultimately why you probably should look into hiring one if you own a private parcel. It doesn't have to be me, it could be anybody. But I definitely think that if you pick the right guy, you're gonna learn a lot about your property, and you're gonna get a second opinion, and you're ultimately probably gonna have a lot more success, and or should have more success if you hire the right guy. So why should you hire a habitat management specialist? One, you're gonna get that second opinion that we just talked about, but you're also gonna be able to understand concepts a bit different than you're currently looking at them. So the food source thing, that's a big part of owning a private property. Are you planning the right food source? Are you planning at the right time? There's so many different variables that come into planning or putting in the right food source on your private parcel. Are you planning it the right way? Now, if you're looking at yourself or you're in the mirror and you're thinking, I didn't even really factor in any of those things, or only 2 of the 3, well, then you don't have all the knowledge that you necessarily need. And if you don't have that knowledge or that experience or whatever you want to call it, then the chances of you killing a deer are less. So basically understanding your property a bit more. Understanding your property from a timber stand improvement method point of view. Why should you be hiring somebody that is a habitat management specialist? Because they have experience seeing different types of timber and understanding the value of that timber, which I'm going to get into. And there's actually ways, believe it or not, you can hire a habitat management specialist and make money. Yes, a lot of people don't believe them when I tell them there is ways, but there are ways. But ultimately understanding your timber. If you understand your timber, you're going to understand your timber value. And if you understand your timber value, you're going to be able to put some money in your pocket. But not only that, more importantly, you're bringing on a habitat management specialist to bring more deer to your property. So if you can understand your timber, take out the correct timber, and create better habitat all at once, why wouldn't you? And if you don't have the experience with that, it's a good reason to bring in a habitat management specialist. The tree stand locations, the trail camera locations. Once again, guys, you're just getting a different look at why somebody else would do what they're going to do. Somebody with a little bit more experience, people who've hunted different parts of the country, worked in different parts of the country, and ultimately have more experience in different parts of the country. And if they can, maybe tailor some of your locations specifically based off of something that they learned in the past, why deer did something the way they did, and ultimately incorporate that on your property, well, now you've gained more information than you had in the beginning. So there's a million different reasons we could get into as to why you should hire a habitat management specialist. Those are some of the big ones, but the biggest one that I kind of mentioned a little bit and I got into a little bit earlier than I wanted to in this video is, guys, there's a chance that you could make money. You could literally make money by hiring somebody like myself, owner of Whitetail Land Management Services. You could make money, have better food plots, have better timber, and have bigger bucks. Mind-boggling, right? You tell a lot of people this, and they don't always necessarily believe it, and it's one of those things that I don't know if I would either, because it sounds too good to be true. How can you do that? 2 different ways. One is that timber. Your timber probably has value of some sort on your property. Unless you understand your timber, you recognize what type of timber you have, you don't know your timber value. And if we can take out timber on your property through a select cut, maybe it's a little bit of clear cutting, extending food plots and doing all these things, you can put money in your pocket from a logger who's going to pay you for that timber. And if you can do that strategically in the right fashion so that it actually benefits movement and the way you want to manipulate that deer movement on your property or add more food sources, then you're going to benefit from it. The one thing that scares me to death is when a client says, well, I'm going to log it and then I'm going to have you come in. Guys, once the damage is done, I can't bring trees back. Neither can any other habitat management specialist. I don't care who they are. So by bringing somebody in before you get a timber harvest done and understanding what you have on your property is one thing, but now understanding how to make sure that that timber is harvested correctly, in which method they end up using, so that it ultimately benefits your property and the movement on your property, so that the property is huntable. That's a whole nother side of this thing, guys. This whole topic is you You need to understand that yes, it needs to be done in the value, but it needs to be done the right way so that you can actually benefit from it. Don't go and have a logger come in and call somebody up the next year and say, hey, I need some help now. Well, you basically wipe the slate clean, which I guess it's a starting point. I mean, it can be worked with, it absolutely can, but you're taking yourself 5 steps back possibly, unless you get lucky and take out timber in the right sections and stuff like that. So regardless, every property with timber likely has some sort of value in some way, shape, or form to anybody. Even cedar trees have a value to the right person. So if you bring in a habitat management specialist that truly understands timber stand improvement, and can strategically map out your property so it's taken out in the right places, you're gonna have better deer movement and you're gonna put money in your pocket. That's a win-win. The other side of this, this is two-sided coin, like how to make money off your property and hire a habitat management specialist. Somebody like myself who works in, I don't know, 10 to 12 different states a year, has a lot of experience working with different state agencies. With those different state agencies are different programs in which you might be able to make money. Once again, through timber stand improvement, through planting certain types of trees or even food plots. There are different programs through different state agencies that are going to pay you to create better deer habitat, because at the end of the day, ideally, that's the goal of every state agency, is to preserve and help different types of animals flourish. Once again, you know, there's more and more people taking over more and more land, things are being industrialized. Their goal is to try and keep what they have and make it better. And a lot of times these programs are going to benefit different species and whitetail deer. It's a win-win-win. You might be able to hold more pheasants on your property, more turkeys, and more deer. So there's different state programs in a lot of different states that are going to pay you to create better habitat. And without bringing in somebody that's worked with those state agencies, you don't know. You don't understand that's even a thing. So there are a lot of reasons that you guys should probably think about bringing in a habitat management specialist for your property. If you're even lacking knowledge on one of those topics that we talked about today, you should probably think about it. And at the end of the day, you work with a company like Whitetail Land Management Services, which is my own. You're gonna get a 30 to 50 page report on everything. We're gonna go over why deer do what they do and why they do it on your property, the trail camera locations, where to put your tree stands, what food sources to plant, when to plant, how to plant them, the timber stand improvement, the whole ball of wax, guys. So if you're lacking even one of those topics or knowledge on one of those topics, it's something you should think about. And hey, worst case scenario, maybe you get to put a little bit of money in your pocket. So bringing in a habitat management specialist might not be a bad idea.